automatically prejudge and think about how communities should be policed compared to be policed a little bit different?
Well, there's definitely a reason to that. Here in California. We also have to look at the police officers and others outside of the black community looking at a moral authority to make these type of judgments. At least, 40, 50 higher level of moral authority to the police. And we came to government officials and said they had to come back. We had moral authority with that. What to do when we allow communities that have a lot of people captive in their own hoods, and then obviously an overreaction, obviously some illegality, that lack of judgment, and that's what the balance that people are. Part of it to get that balance back is bringing about a higher level of moral authority in the community. We're doing some things, I'm not going to say self-policing, but definitely self-ability in the community so that things like this happen. It's a lot easier to rally to eliminate any possibilities of this repeating itself.
Would you say that this is just subject to the fact of where they live, a choice of what they're going through because of where they live?
They live, I think, because of what we have as an epidemic in our urban environment. And I don't think on black skin either. I think it's based on what cities look like now. So, cities that have Mexican or Spanish-speaking people, you have Asians, you have African Americans, you even have Native Americans, a large Native Americans, every place from to the Pacific coast. Here in other urban environments here, you have African American, you're going to have Asians, you'll have, so for example, you have Puerto Rico, you'll have Dominicans, you'll still have the Mexican influence, the Central American influence. So it's not just a matter of saying, I'm being discriminated in these issues. It's a what our cities look like. And the younger generations, those that can touch multiple cultures within America, that can touch the business culture, touch the government culture, touch the urban culture, touch the inner city culture, and then even if necessary, touch the ethnic cultures that we're talking about in order to bring about a better condition, generally speaking, so that again, when these type of incidents crop up, we have a higher level of moral authority to stomp it out immediately before somebody dies.
Well, political brother, what do you feel about that?
I mean, I understand what Lenny's saying, even though the issue I have with those kinds of things is that when it makes the victims responsible. See, in other words, that if you're in a place where there is a lack of moral authority, you're going to be subject to abuse. And so you're supposed to do something by changing where you're at. So once again, we're holding the victims accountable for again, that's not going to get anywhere. Some of the police are captive and have limited, and so even though I agree that we need to change the moral flavor in our communities, we need for leadership to stand up. I don't know how we can ask that of the victims. At the same time, allowing the forces that be used that as an excuse to allow continue and shootings and these kinds of things. I understand what Lenny's saying. I just think still, in a way, you end up holding the victims accountable for their own tragedies, and this was done to them.
But Mario, in regards to police intimidation, and we're going to have this continue victims or not, so that still has to go on. But
that's true.
The example that comes to mind as you were speaking is, what's a 12-year-old shooter? 52 weeks ago, it was an 11-year-old that you take your belt off and whoop us behind for being disrespectful to a 12-year-old shooter. And when we don't have that level of authority to do that, then it's not necessarily blaming the victim. Accountability that we have to disclaim and we have to start moving forward with. And I'm not saying that you have to claim everything and clean up their communities and make it the police will never do this.
Well, Lenny's what's the part? Lenny, you're actually now. Let me think. Lenny's. I actually agree with him for certain situations. For a specific one, Lenny. How about the teenagers that act a fool in public, bad mouth? Then we want to act up if the police come down on them. I know the average black father, or even myself, trying it with a teenager with some of that mouth, I'm ready to hit them squat. So now, like when you talk about authority, this is one of those issues where I find we're in this catch-22. And I can, if we're going to allow you to disrespect officers or to act in a certain way, then of course we're going to see some backlash. Even though I must admit, in the past, Lenny, the officers have deserved this. Okay, they have in the past. but I
agree. There's going to be backlash. I mean, it goes to, for example, you remember the incident in Trump City it's in where there was an African young lady that was not not only resisting arrest, but was somehow...
We showed it. We showed it. Yeah, that was
the officer punched her straight in the face? No. He's trained not to punch her in the face. At the same time, when she... there's okay, she's resisting arrest and she's trying to strike him. And not to punch anybody in the face, let alone an unarmed woman.
But he's actually taught to take down...
But it goes back to this. If the woman who was trying to prevent her friend from being arrested took other actions, either protest or otherwise prevent that from happening, and he still punches her in the face, now she has the moral authority and the moral upper hand, where national story, you don't have this debate of, well, she swung at him first. You don't have that. You have the Rosa Parks scenario, which is, okay, this is unjust. Here's a person that is doing the right thing, was protesting the right way, and why did this white male punch this black woman in the face?
Okay, now...
But that never got to be the story in that example because of what she was doing previously. And we have too many examples like that. Well,
it's funny, Lenny. Now, here's a flip-flop for us again today. I actually, on this one, when the girl attacked the police officer, actually, as far as I know, my rules of engagement, he could have either shot her or hit her with a nightstick. I thought she got off easy by getting punched in the face. Here's an officer in his active duty, dealing with another hostile person. You're going to run up on him and jump in the middle of that? To me, if I had been on the jury, if he had clocked her across the head with a nightstick, I would have said not guilty, and I'm a radical leftist. Why? Because look what you just did. You just interrupted an officer in the act of his duty with a violent act. He doesn't know who you are. To me, I thought he showed restraint by not shooting you. When I grew up, Lenny, when you and I grew up, she would have got shot. She would have been killed. Okay? No question.
Well, let me say this before Lenny says something. But again, gentlemen, we're talking about the situation where what happened to Oscar Grant III in Oakland. A man who was unarmed. He was unarmed. He said nothing. He put his face down, and an officer mixed up a gun versus a phaser.
That's what he said, Shirley. Why was he interacting with the youth?
Why was he mixing up his gun with a phaser?
I'm still back. Here's a guy on the bus even talking to him.
That's a good question.
What did he do? Did he do something, or was he just being?
And just to chime in, that's what I was referencing when I said when I get to know all the facts. Where did the engagement take place? Still, my heart goes out to the mother who lost.
I agree with you.
Unbelievably.
Well, this story not.
No, I know it's not. And,
it's not.
And surely the part here. No, could the officer shown and had other options? Absolutely. Absolutely.
Because
I mean,
right.
this
is not a beating.
But
the question is the outcome of the trial. That's the challenge. Everybody would agree with what was done was wrong.
It was wrong.
That's not the problem. The problem is him the maximum penalties.
Right. They gave him
they gave him totally taken out.
2 to 3 years.
And somebody gives you a lesson. They say this. They said, now that you know what it is to be like in the jungle, whether it's a suburban jungle or urban jungle,
right.
You now know that you have to do things above and beyond to get yourself away from these situations, whether you wait for fairness or not. That's what I was talking to.
But Vic, I agree with you. But here you got and I'm not. And notice where we go. We immediately come to the victim and say, you know what? You shouldn't be in the ghetto. You know what? Raise yourself up so you're not in the ghetto. Then you won't have to get your ass. That's what we're basically saying.
Right.
No. What I'm saying is that I'm not saying that.
Hold on, Vic. What are you saying, Lenny? Oh, we lost him.
Oh, we lost you, Lenny.
Go
ahead.
We're
by the way, everybody, that's Lenny McAllister, who really one of the people in Hip Hop Republican, coming from North Carolina. Just had a new baby coming from North Carolina.
Look at that.
So one of the brothers we truly respect his grassroots movement. Even as your radical leftist, this is a brother I love to engage in conversations. Hopefully, we will get him back.
Lenny, what were you saying? We got you back. Go ahead.
No, what I was saying was, in many of these situations, the adults are now 23-year-olds versus having older that had a sense of decorum, and had a sense of class, and had a sense of
Uh-oh, he's breaking.